So, let's talk about a skill that can honestly, truly change everything, not just in your business, but in your whole life. And I'm talking about leadership. But forget the stuffy titles or where you are in an org chart. This is about a whole new way of thinking and acting that can just unlock some serious growth. Okay, let me ask you something right out of the gate and be honest with yourself here. Are you the biggest bottleneck in your own business? It's such a common trap, right? Especially for driven people. You end up becoming the chief problem solver, the person with all the answers. And pretty soon, nothing moves an inch without you. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you're in the right place. Let me just paint you a quick picture. Imagine it's the summer of 2010. Your business is really on the edge. The cash flow has slowed to a trickle. You've got vendors calling and they're not happy, demanding payments you just can't make. And payroll, that's looming over your head like a giant storm cloud about to burst. You feel that? The weight of the world is just sitting on your shoulders. This was a real crisis, a moment where it felt like the whole thing could just crumble. But right in the middle of all that panic, a mentor stepped in and asked two questions that just completely cut through the noise. First, they asked, what's the real problem here? Not the stuff on the surface, but the deep down root cause. And then, the second question, what would have to be true for us to solve it? Wow. Just like that, everything changed. The focus went from fear and we can't to strategy and how can we. And that story right there gets to the absolute heart of what we're talking about today. See, real leadership isn't about running around putting out fires all day. It's about building an organization that's fireproof to begin with. And that transformation, it always starts with you. Your actions, your mindset, your example. You set the standard for everybody. You know, the legendary John Maxwell just nailed it with this quote. Leadership is an action. It's something you do. You've got to know where you're going, you have to be walking that path yourself, and then you have to make that path clear for your team. I mean, if you're cutting corners or dodging accountability, how can you expect anything different from them? You are the standard. Period. But look, setting the standard isn't just about cracking the whip and demanding results. The best leaders, they create this incredible environment of both high expectations and high support. So yeah, you're pushing your team toward these big, ambitious goals, but you're also giving them every single thing they need to get there. The tools, the training, the encouragement. It's like you're pushing them forward and lifting them up all at the same time. Okay, so this is the big question, right? How do you actually stop being that bottleneck and start building a team that can handle those high expectations? Well, it all starts with this really powerful but simple framework. Instead of looking at a giant, messy pile of problems, we're going to sort them into three nice, neat categories. All right, here they are. You've got normal problems, abnormal problems, and pathological problems. Now, just understanding the difference between these three, I'm telling you, it's the key to empowering your team, getting your time back, and really truly starting to lead. So let's break each one down. First up, we've got normal problems. The best way to think about these is like everyday speed bumps. They're the little challenges that are just kind of part of the job description. You know, two big projects land on the same deadline, that kind of thing. They might slow things down for a minute, but they're not going to crash the whole business. And here's the crucial part. Your team should be solving these all on their own. This is how they learn. Okay, next up, abnormal problems. Now, these are a little trickier. These are the ones that keep popping up, or there's situations where your employee knows they need to do something, but they feel stuck. They don't know how to move forward. And their first instinct, it's to run to you and drop that problem right in your lap. This right here is a moment of truth for you as a leader, because these problems are your absolute greatest opportunity to coach your team, not to solve the problem for them. And finally, we have pathological problems. Okay, these are the true code red business emergencies. We're talking about a critical cash shortage, like in that story from 2010. We're talking about a major health and safety issue. These are the all hands on deck moments that 100% require your immediate direct attention. Your real job as a leader is to build a business where these are incredibly rare. Now, let's really focus in on abnormal problems for a second, because how you handle these, that's where the magic happens. This is what separates a good manager from a truly great leader. It's how you finally break free from being the bottleneck and you start multiplying your team's talent. So when an employee brings you one of these abnormal problems, you resist every urge to just give them the answer. Instead, you give them this process. Step one, you ask the ultimate empowerment question. What would you do if it was your decision? Right away, their brain switches from passive to active. Step two, you tell them, come up with three possible solutions. This forces them to think critically. Step 3, you say, okay, now pick the best one. This builds their confidence in making decisions. And finally, step 4, you have them validate that choice with their supervisor to make sure their thinking is on the right track. You do this over and over, and you're not just solving one problem, you're building a team of problem solvers. So as we wrap this up, let's bring it all back home, back to where we started. This whole framework, it's not really about managing problems, is it? It's about totally changing your own role in the business. It's about leading yourself first. So here it is, the big takeaway. When you make that shift, when you go from being the chief problem solver for every little thing to being a strategic coach, two incredible things happen. First, you empower your team to grow, to take ownership, and that speeds up the whole business. And second, and this is huge, you free yourself up to finally focus on the big picture, strategic work that only you as a leader can actually do. Look, this shift from constantly doing to actually leading, it's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. But if you're ready to take that next step and really elevate your own leadership, I want you to go to www.archonusa.com and request a free leadership brief for yourself. It's a fantastic tool to help you keep building on everything we've talked about today.